I moved into the Manchester Hostel because it was cheap and close to campus. The kind of place where the radiators always groaned and the carpets never quite dried after rain. The first night, I told myself the building was just settling when I heard the soft creak from my cupboard. But then I heard it again, my name, whispered in a voice so thin it barely seemed real. I laughed it off, called it exhaustion, but I still slept with the lamp on. The second night, the whisper came earlier, right as I was setting my books down. A faint tap from inside the cupboard, followed by that breathy sound of someone trying to speak without being noticed. I went still, every instinct screaming, yet I kept telling myself it was pipes or wind. But the cupboard didn't have any vents, and the wind doesn't know your name. I was already on edge. I kept checking over my shoulder in lectures, imagining someone leaning close behind me. When I got back to my room, the cupboard door was slightly ajar. I knew I'd closed it that morning. Habit from living in old houses with mice. I nudged it shut again, but the moment the lock clicked, the whisper sounded right behind the wood. I stepped back so fast I hit the desk. The voice was becoming clearer. It sounded like a girl, someone young, someone afraid, or pretending to be. I didn't tell anyone. You don't go around saying your cupboard talks to you, not in a hostel full of students who already look half-crazed with deadlines. So I tried ignoring it, stuffing a towel along the base for good measure. But the whisper only grew more confident. Some nights it giggled softly, like it was practicing my name. Other nights it scraped lightly at the inside, as though its fingers were testing the boards for weak points. I kept imagining eyes watching me from the cracks. One evening, when the corridor outside was unusually quiet, I heard the whisper insistently repeating my name, quicker each time. Something in me snapped. I walked to the cupboard, pressed my palm against the wood, and said, barely above a breath, "What do you want?" The whisper stopped. The silence on the other side was immediate and heavy, like holding my breath underwater. Then, so faint I almost missed it. "Let me out." I staggered back, shaking. I told myself it was a hallucination from stress, but the moment I turned away, the cupboard rattled violently, making the walls tremble. I ran into the hallway, heart racing, and stayed there until one of the other residents returned. I didn't tell him why. I just walked back in with him, pretending everything was fine. The cupboard was calm, perfectly shut, like nothing had happened. The next day, I asked the warden for another room. He frowned, checked his clipboard, and told me something that made my stomach twist. The room I was in hadn't been occupied since last winter. A girl had stayed there briefly, but she'd moved out suddenly, left her belongings behind, actually. He said they cleared everything out. Everything except the old built-in cupboard, which never opened properly anyway. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept staring at the cupboard, waiting. Around 3 a.m., I heard a soft click from inside, like a latch shifting. Then a slow, deliberate drag of nails down the interior panel. My name followed, no longer whispering, more like someone speaking through clenched teeth. I backed into the corner of the room, barely breathing, and watched the cupboard door tremble. The wood bowed outward just slightly, as if pressure from inside was building. I could hear breathing now, light, shaky, but too close, too human. I whispered, shaking, that I was leaving in the morning, that she could have the room. The breathing paused. Then a quiet laugh slipped through the cracks, soft but triumphant. I grabbed my bag and didn't wait for morning. As I left, the corridor lights flickered, and behind me, from inside the room, I heard the cupboard door creak open at last. I didn't look back. I only heard one final sound before I reached the stairs. My name,
Mark.
spoken clearly, followed by the gentle tap of footsteps